How do you know if you can make it as a ghostwriter? Today we're talking about the traits to become successful in ghostwriting and some traits that you might want to overcome if you want to make this a lucrative career or job. If you don't know who I am, hi, my name is Katlyn Duncan and I am a hybrid author, which means I publish both traditional and independent books. Here on my channel, we talk about the writing process and all the bookish things. So if you are at all interested in that, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell next to it so you know the next time I upload. This is the second in a series all about ghostwriting. And if you missed the basics of ghostwriting, I'm going to link that for you up above in the cards and also in the description box to check out after this video. Over the years of ghostwriting, I developed a lot of strengths when it came to producing books for other people. Some of them might be very obvious, but I'm going to cover what traits you should have to become a successful ghostwriter and some traits that may detract from that success. You might be a good ghostwriter if you write fast. This is one of the big ones. I never really thought I was a fast writer until I started ghostwriting, and several months into ghostwriting, I upped my word counts to between 6,000 and 8,000 words a day. From my experience, clients want books fast. They may be rapid releasing a series, or they may be working toward certain goals, and you need to meet those deadlines. No one wants you to take 2 years to write their book, unless I guess that's something that you've agreed upon with your client, but I've never seen it, especially with fiction ghostwriting. The longer you drag out this timeline, the less money you're going to make. Think about it. Let's say you are doing a book project for $1,000, a nice round number. If it takes you 2 weeks to write that book, say you work 4 hours a day on it, Monday through Friday, say that's an hourly rate of about $25 an hour. If it takes you 3 months to write that book, then you're cutting down on that per hour rate significantly. So your client's probably not going to be happy, and neither is your bank account. Another reason you may find success in ghostwriting is if you are very collaborative. There were very few ghostwriting jobs where I didn't work with the client before writing the book. Some had very vague ideas about where they wanted their book to go, and then they just gave me free rein to go from there. And that's fine for them. Those are okay jobs to take. But there was a lot of upfront work that I had to do to be able to write that book for them. Most of the clients that I stuck with already had outlines or very fleshed out ideas that I could work with. And that gave me the opportunity to work with them ahead of time and to go through any issues that I saw or any miscommunications or clarifications. And that's really what I preferred. I found these conversations to be very important, especially with newer clients, because one, it showed that I was serious about the job and about their story. And two, it showed my attention to detail, which I think they really appreciated. You don't want to be mid-book when you realize that there's a plot hole and you have to go back to the beginning and fix all of it, because usually you don't get paid extra for that. You might be a good ghostwriter if you're interested in learning. There were plenty of projects that I wrote in genres that I may not have published myself, such as middle grade and erotica. Yes, erotica, which is probably why I'll never write an intimate scene ever again. But these were the projects that tended to write in series, and I was able to churn out a lot of them. I learned the nuances of the genres, different tropes that were used in these genres, and what the expectations of readers were for the popular books in these genres. And to do that, I would either read my clients' books, their previous books, or I would do my own research. By taking care and treating books in this way, I was able to create long-standing relationships with these clients who also had an infinite amount of stories that they wanted written. You might be a good ghostwriter if you're okay not getting credit for any of these projects. Most ghostwriters don't get credit for these projects, and that's usually the point. If you are precious about the way that you craft projects and sentences and books, and you can't stand someone else taking credit for a book that you may not have ever written otherwise, then this may not be the job for you. You might be a good ghostwriter if you can stick to deadlines. One of the worst things you can do as a ghostwriter is not meet your deadlines. These publishers or other authors set up timelines usually for the production of their books, and if you disrupt that timeline, then everything else gets disrupted in the process. And usually ghostwriters are at the very front of the book production, so everything comes tumbling down if you can't meet those deadlines. And as most of these clients are interested in pumping out books as fast as possible, this labels you as unreliable. And since these authors or publishers are interested in working at their own pace, you might not have future projects with them. Now, if you have a family emergency or you get sick, something that's unexpected, that's obviously okay. That's like working any other job. But any other time where you're healthy and you have planned out your schedule appropriately, really stick to those deadlines. You might be a good ghostwriter if you can adapt to other people's styles. Similarly to learning about others' genres, the best ghostwriters can adapt to other voices or styles. This is why it's so important to be collaborative with your client. If they want a humorous book, you don't want it to read like a eulogy, or vice versa. One thing that I found important with working with my clients was creating writing samples based on their voices. So this is a little later in the process where you have the job and you have the outline, and I always found it important to give 1 or 2 chapters based on their outline and then have a conversation with them about tweaking based on their style and what they intended to give their readers. This is imperative at the start because you don't want to write half a book or an entire book in a different style than your client was looking for. Then you have to rewrite the project without any extra compensation. So those are a few traits for you to be a great and successful ghostwriter. Now let's talk about the opposite. Why you probably shouldn't be a ghostwriter if you're not in it to win it. I don't think anyone takes one ghostwriting job and becomes the master ghostwriter. Since you will hopefully be working with different clients, there will be challenges and growing pains in the process. As I said in one of my previous ghostwriting videos, one of my first jobs I took, I made $35 for a 40,000 word book. It still hurts to this day, but it gave me my first 5-star review on Upwork.com, where I was able to start my process of becoming a ghostwriter. It takes a little bit to build up skill and also clientele, but once you work toward that, eventually you will be able to decide who you want to work for and how much you get paid. You probably shouldn't be a ghostwriter if you have too many opinions. As a ghostwriter, you are there, you are being paid to serve the client, not the other way around. They are paying you to bring their book to fruition. While working collaboratively is important, if a client is very much stuck on a certain plot point or something to do with the project, then that is what they want. So while you may be able to have a conversation and express some opinions, if they're unwilling to be movable on that aspect, you gotta suck it up, buttercup. Give them the book they want and get paid for it. You may not be a good ghostwriter if you're not flexible. Now, usually with a lot of the projects that I took, I would handle the first draft of a project, but sometimes I would be asked to look at editorial feedback and make any changes based on that. Now, obviously, you have to make sure that you're being paid for this time, but being a collaborative freelancer will definitely make you an asset to this client. Also, too, if the timeline shifts, if your client needs the book sooner than anticipated, if everything is written in contract, obviously you don't have to, but if you are able to be flexible and give them the book sooner, then that will definitely make you an asset to them as well. Whenever I have ghostwriting projects in a row, I tend to leave about a week or 2 in between them so that I'm able to be accommodating to any changes that are necessary, especially if I hand in a project and there is an issue or they want to take a different direction with something, then I can have the time to fix it in between. You may not be a good ghostwriter if you're not a team player. I have dealt with my share of opinionated clients, some of who, when I think about them, I physically cringe. But sometimes you can't pick the teams that you're working with, especially if you're working with a book packager or a publisher. And usually you have to play nice or you don't get paid. Now, I'm not saying that you should ever deal with verbal abuse from any one of these clients or people who work with them. You also don't want to be the person on the team that doesn't get along with those people either. So if you don't get along for creative differences, that's separate than someone actually being nasty to you. So you need to make that decision on whether or not that's a project that you want to continue to work on, or if you continue to work with that client. but sometimes you may need to just be a team player to get through the job and get paid. So this is not a comprehensive list, but this is my experiences with ghostwriting. So I would say overall, if you are willing to up your speed a bit with writing and you are super professional and dedicated to your work, you will definitely be an asset to your clients moving forward. And if you can't really handle someone else taking credit for your books and you're not a team player, then maybe this job is not quite for you. So I would love to know in the comments if you have any other opinions about ways you can be successful as a ghostwriter and ways that you may not be successful as a ghostwriter. I'd love to continue this conversation there. And I would also love it that if you learned something new today, if you could give this video a big thumbs up, because it really helps me bring my videos to more writers like you. And subscribe if you'd like to, and ring that notification bell as always so you know the next time I upload. And I'll see you next week.